Hi, today we'll look at another type of political market on Polymarket, markets on international conflicts. For example, will a ceasefire be reached between the US and Iran before April 30th? It seems like such questions can't be predicted at all. There are just too many unpredictable people making decisions, but in reality, diplomacy has its own noticeable signals long before any official announcement, and today we'll discuss exactly what those signals are and where to look for them. In simple terms, without any military or political jargon, the mechanics are the same as everywhere else. The market simply asks whether a specific event will happen by a certain date. The price, from 1 to 99 cents, shows how strongly market participants believe in it. We can see that they don't really believe in it that much because we entered at 32 cents that a ceasefire would happen before April 30th. A particular feature of military and diplomatic markets is that events here often move in sudden jumps. For weeks, nothing happens, and then in a single day the situation changes dramatically. That's why it's important not to rely on the feeling that the conflict is dragging on endlessly, but to monitor specific signals every day. Here are the tools, and all of them are free and don't require any special knowledge. The first are the major reputable agencies, Associated Press and Reuters. These are not blogs or social networks. They verify information before publishing and are the first to report official statements from both sides. The second is official statements directly from the parties involved, the website of the US State Department, state.gov, and the White House, whitehouse.gov, and statements from the other side of the conflict through its official channels. It's also very important to watch and analyze these. If there is a mediator country in the negotiations, its official statements are also extremely important because it is usually the mediator who announces a breakthrough in the negotiations first. The third is the price of oil, for example, the Brent crude benchmark. This is a simple but very telling indicator. When the oil market senses that tensions in an oil-producing region are easing, the price drops sharply. Oil market traders sometimes react to rumors of de-escalation even faster than official news appears. The fourth is comparing prices across different platforms, also on, for example, Polymarket and Kalshi, or some bookmakers, if such events are available. Once again, it is important to remember that the more diverse sources and analytical tools you choose to use, the more accurate and consistently reliable your final forecast will ultimately be. If, for example, you notice that the trading price for a potential ceasefire is noticeably higher on a platform like Kalshi than it is on Polymarket, that provides a very strong reason for you to look deeper into which specific platform currently possesses the most up-to-date and comprehensive information available. This is one of the indicators that something has already started to change or has already changed while someone else hasn't had time to analyze or update the information yet. It's also important to always take this into account and understand it. Let's take a closer look at a very specific real-world example, focusing particularly on this prediction market regarding a potential ceasefire agreement between the United States and Iran, as well as the nation of Israel. It began at the end of February 2026 and was extremely tense. Strikes, retaliatory strikes, the closure of an important maritime route. At that moment, many were convinced that a ceasefire was impossible in the near future. Step 1. We monitor the news using our two tools, Associated and Reuters. And in early April 5th to be precise, the mediator country, Pakistan, proposed a ceasefire plan. This is already the very first significant and noticeable signal that we can observe, but if a concrete plan from a third party has finally emerged, it means that both of the involved parties have at the very least reached an agreement to sit down together at the negotiating table. Moving on to step 2. We must carefully examine the fluctuating price of crude oil during these specific days. At that time it suddenly dropped by about 15 to 16%, precisely at the moment when news of a possible ceasefire appeared. The oil market reacted to the reduced risk before the situation was officially confirmed. This is a sure sign that the market as a whole believed in an imminent de-escalation. In step 3, we check the official statement directly. On April 8th, the President of the United States publicly stated that the parties were close to an agreement, and the Foreign Minister of Iran confirmed conditional consent to a pause in exchange for a cessation of attacks. These are no longer rumors, but direct official statements from both sides. Conclusion. If a newcomer judged only by the general feeling, thinking that the conflict was too serious and that a truce was impossible, they would have missed 3 early signals at once: the mediator's proposal of a plan, the sharp drop in oil prices, and the direct official statements from both sides. In fact, actually, already on April 8, 2026, long before the final deadline of April 30th, and just as the market had clearly indicated, the United States and Iran did indeed officially announce a truce. In this case, the market for yes should have surged in price precisely during the first week of April, even before the official announcement, for those who were tracking these three signals. And it's important to remember, a truce is not the same as a final peace. In this very conflict, the truce was repeatedly violated by both sides afterwards. Therefore, if the market is specifically asking whether a truce will be announced before date X, it closes based on the fact of the announcement, not on how long the truce lasts. That's a separate, different market with its own conditions. Always read the wording to the end and don't rush to close your position right after the first encouraging headline. Wait for official confirmation from at least one side, and preferably from both. And even in the most tense international conflicts, there are noticeable early signals of a concrete plan emerging from a mediator and reactions from related markets, such as oil. Direct official statements from the parties are three simple, free sources available to everyone. You don't need to be a diplomat or a military analyst to track them. Start with one current conflict market, check these 3 points, and you'll see that real signals appear much earlier than the official headlines. Subscribe to analyze more cases like this. Goodbye, everyone.